Hello YouTube and welcome to Just My Opinion UK. Today bringing you a bit of a clash of the titans. We have got the Rolex Submariner, no date, on the right hand side, and we've got the new 2018 OMEGA SEAMASTER Professional on the left. Now, some of you who have followed the channel in the past will know that I have done a comparison between the Rolex Submariner and the OMEGA SEAMASTER in the past, and I've done it based on a scoring system, and the Rolex Submariner beat the Seamaster by a point. So now that OMEGA have brought out this new 2018 model, can the OMEGA Seamaster Professional finally beat the Submariner? So before we get into the review, the direct comparison and review, we'll give some information on the two watches. So on the left hand side we've got the OMEGA Seamaster 300, reference number 210 304220030001. It is a 42mm stainless steel dive watch, capable of going to 300 meters. It has the caliber 8800 automatic movement, which is the anti-magnetic movement, with a power reserve of 55 hours. This is a professional diver's watch. On the right hand side we've got the Rolex Submariner 1140/60 with the caliber 3130, a COSC certified automatic movement with a 48-hour power reserve in the 40mm. Now this one is the 904L stainless steel. So that's the sort of basic specs of the two watches that we're talking about. Now, as I said, this new Seamaster was launched. Let me just take the Rolex out for a moment. So this is the new 2018 Seamaster Professional. This is my own personal one. I've managed to get one. I did say in one of my last videos that I had this one in mind. Now that they've relaunched it with the wavy dial, I really do like the wavy dial on the back. But it's really nice, cool watch. You can see their display back, a little bit pointless on a professional diver in my opinion, and it's not a particularly well decorated movement, so it's I don't know. I mean, it's nice that OMEGA do it for those who want to see the movement, but it's not a particularly decorated movement, so it's a little bit of a pointless exercise in my opinion. It's not something that I would have been too fussed about seeing. I was quite happy with the traditional Seamaster seahorse on the back of the case. We've got now the crown, much more easier to operate and wind. The helium escape valve has been changed ever so slightly, a bit more a bit more shape than the old one. The bezel is a lot easier to turn than the previous model. They've just tweaked it. They've tweaked the watch. They've also altered the bracelet ever so slightly. They've made it a little bit more masculine without the curvature on the links. So it's a nicer bracelet than the previous model. And we've also got the introduction of the glide lock system, which push the button there, and it just extends, and then you've got some extra movement on the bracelet. So perfect for those hot days when the weather is hot and the wrists swell. You can extend it. So yeah, very cool. OMEGA have done a fantastic job with this watch. I cannot knock them. They've done a really nice job. I think this watch now sort of puts the Planet Ocean line into question. Why would people need the Planet Ocean when they can get the Seamaster Professional, which is, let's face it, the Seamaster Professional is the I suppose you could call it the flagship for OMEGA. It's their they've had it out since the 90s. Well, the Seamaster Professional since the 90s. It's I would say it's a modern classic, is the Seamaster Professional, and the Planet Ocean is, I suppose, technically a new kid on the block, released mid-2000. It's, the Planet Ocean up to now, in my opinion, has been the best diver that OMEGA have done. because the Seamaster with the caliber 2500 was always left wanting, in my opinion. It was a bit boring with a plain dial. Now they've reintroduced the wave dial. It's just a bit more interesting. It's a bit more in keeping with the Seamasters of old. I just feel that Omega have gone back to the roots a little bit, and they've made a really beautiful looking watch. Ceramic bezel, as is the Submariner. So yeah, just a really, really beautiful watch. When you get it in the daylight, the light here isn't very good, but when you get it in the daylight, this blue is absolutely stunning. Fits the wrist real nice, and it's just a really, really comfortable watch to wear. The new bracelet is a big, big plus. Omega really have done a fantastic job with it. So just bob that one down. Obviously we've also got on today, we've got again my own personal watch, the Rolex Submariner 1140/60. You know, the run-of-the-mill tool watch. Again, an iconic diver, probably more iconic than the Seamaster. But yeah, there it is. You've got the ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal, same as the Omega. On this one, you've also got a adjustable, so you can adjust on the clasp, you can adjust the size. So yeah, the 904L stainless steel, really, really cool watch, and I've reviewed this watch before. The Submariner 1140/60 has been reviewed to death, so you know you can find plenty of videos online regards that one, and you will see online that I've reviewed this myself. So what we're doing today is I'll just put those in the background. So bringing into shop, we have got a list, and this list is of a scoring system, so we can see how both watches stack up against each other. I'll bring those into shot. So obviously we've got the Submariner on the left and we've got the Seamaster on the right. So first of all, the dial. Now I've scored the Submariner a 9 and the Seamaster a 10. The reason being is the dial on the Submariner is a little bit, it's a classic. You know, I can't knock Rolex for it. It's a classic design. It's, you know, a very simplistic design. The reason I'm scoring the Seamaster is a 10 because I think Omega have really pulled out the stops on this. The wave dial, the applied markers, the sword hands, it is, you know, everything about it is just a beautiful, stunning watch. Very, very legible. The date now at the 6 o'clock position, which I personally prefer to the 3 o'clock position where it was on previous models. The Seamaster beats the Submariner on the dial. In my opinion, the dial on the Seamaster is just a bit more interesting, a bit more modern. But that said, the Submariner is a classic. So the Submariner has got a solid 9 and the Seamaster a 10, just based on the fact that Omega have really gone to some efforts to, you know, make this watch sort of harping back to the original, but with a modern twist. So yeah, I think Omega deserves a 10 on that one. Moving down the list, we have got the case. Now, a bit of a big difference in this one. The case on the Submariner, I've marked it down as an 8. The main reason being is simply the size. It's a 40mm case. Now, in this day and age, you know, filming this in 2018, the trend is towards larger watches. The Omega, in my personal opinion, 42mm is the perfect size watch. I mean, 41 is probably the ideal size, but 42 is, me personally, I'd rather a watch be a millimetre too big than a millimetre too small. The Submariner has been 40mm for years. I feel Rolex could have just upped the Submariner case by 1mm, and that would have made all the difference. Obviously, Rolex did introduce the larger cases. I think it was around about 2011, 2010, 2011. They introduced the larger case, beefed the watch up a little bit, but it's still a 40mm case. So I just feel that Rolex could do a 41mm case just to meet the needs of the bigger gentleman or lady. So Seamaster scores a 10, the Submariner scores an 8. As I say, mainly down to the size. And I've given the Seamaster a little bit of credit because they have done the case back, the sapphire crystal case back. Now, I appreciate that me personally, I wouldn't have bothered, but Omega do put, on the other Seamasters, they do put the seahorse on the back, whereas the Rolex just has a plain case back, which I feel is just a little bit lazy on Rolex's part. So the case is scoring an 8 for the Submariner and a 10 for the Seamaster. Moving down, we've got the bezel. Now the bezel on the Rolex Submariner is second to none. The bezel on the Submariner is as silky as butter. It really is. It is simply the best bezel in the business. So the Submariner has to be a 10. The Seamaster, again, an extremely good bezel. Can't really fault it, apart from, even though Omega have made it better to operate, especially with gloves on in the water, it's still not ideal. It's still not perfect. The Rolex has a very, very easy to grasp bezel. It's got sort of almost like a sharpness to it where you can easily grab it from any angle. The Omega, you have to really, you've got to really make an effort to turn the bezel on the Omega, whereas the Rolex is just silky smooth and easy. So on that one, I'm giving the edge on that one to the Submariner. But the Seamaster, if it had been the previous model, I'd have given it a 7 or an 8 because it was a very poor bezel to operate. The new one is a lot better, so I'm giving it a 9. The Bracelet, again, the Submariner comes out on top. The Submariner gets a 10, the Seamaster a 9, mainly because I love the way how Rolex taper the bracelet. The comfort factor of the bracelet on the Rolex is just fantastic. The Seamaster bracelet can feel a little bit heavy and cumbersome in comparison to the Submariner. The fact that the Submariner just tapers down nicely from the case down to the clasp, it just has a real nice taper to it, whereas the Seamaster has it's the same measurement from the case all the way down to the clasp. There isn't any tapering, which makes it feel a little bit on the cumbersome side. So I'm giving the edge to the Submariner on the bracelet for that reason. We've got the clasp. Now the clasp, there's nothing between them. The Submariner, the Seamaster. Now the Seamaster has introduced the I don't know what they call it, but I think Rolex call it the glide lock system. I don't know what the Omega version is, but now that they can both have adjustable clasps, I think both watches are fantastic clasps. Both of them are very, very positive shuts. Both of them very secure. Both of them are adjustable. Cannot fault either clasp. So both watches score a 10 out of 10. Moving on to the movement, the Submariner scores a 9, the Seamaster a 10, mainly because the Submariner, it's got the same movement, the 3130, it's had that movement for years and years and years. The Seamaster with the 8800 have really made some big leaps forward with that movement. Well, to be fair, with any of the 800 series, the Omega movements really are a stunning movement and they're incredibly accurate. The Rolexes, in the past, I have had some problems with the Rolexes in the past. You'll see in this video that the Rolex second hand and the Omega second hand are slightly apart by around about 9 to 10 seconds. The Omega is actually keeping accurate time. The Rolex is actually slightly slow. And this Rolex is only 2 years old. So, you know, between the movements, I would give it to the Omega, but the Submariner movement is a very, very solid, robust movement, tried and tested, so it deserves a solid 9, but the Seamaster gets the 10. And another thing to bear in mind is that the Rolex Submariner is 48-hour power reserve, whereas the Seamaster is 55 hours. So, yeah, the Seamaster sort of pips it to the post and gets a 10, and the Submariner a 9 on the movement. Moving down to the materials used to make the watch, the Seamaster gets a 9, very, very solid 9. There's nothing wrong with any of the materials they're using. It's obviously stainless steel, it's sapphire crystal and ceramic, so nothing wrong with the materials at all. but the Submariner, because the Submariner uses the 904L stainless steel and it uses the 18 karat white gold in the markers and the hands. So yeah, the Submariner pips it to the post on the materials used for that reason. Nothing wrong with what the Seamaster's doing. The Seamaster is doing what every other watch brand does. The Rolex just does it better. So yeah, the Rolex gets a solid 10 and the Seamaster gets a very respectable 9. Comfort. So comfort to live with, comfort to wear. Both of these watches are my personal watches. I have been to work in these watches, I've been out in these watches, I've been to meals in these watches, I've slept in these watches. I've used them every single day in different ways. Both watches extremely comfortable, very, very easy to live with, and both an absolute joy to live with. So I couldn't put one above the other. Extremely good, both of them. So neither one would win that. I've got no negatives to say on comfort for either of them, apart from possibly mentioning back to the bracelet on the Omega. Could do in the future, I would like to see Omega possibly tapering the bracelets in the same way that Rolex do. Functional. Again, 10 out of 10 for both watches. They're both functional. You know, they both are clear to read. They're both bezels work as they should. Both watches are easy to read, both in the day and in the night. The lume on both watches are excellent. They're both comfortable. They're both clasps are very, 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 very good. Everything about them is just functional. They're both tool watches, but they're both very elegant tool watches. They do what they say on the tin. I couldn't put either watch above the other for functionality, so therefore they both score a level neck of 10 and 10. Both very, very both functional watches. Anybody that wanted to use them for going diving can. Anybody that wants them as a tool watch can. Anybody who wants them with a suit and a tie can. Or anybody who just wants them in shorts and a t-shirt can. So yeah, they're all-round functional watches. Cannot fault either one. Price tag. Now, this is a bit of a tricky one. Both watches score a 9, and the reason for this, the Submariner is extremely expensive at $5,750. That is the up-to-date price. They've just had a price increase from $5,450 up to $5,750. That's for this particular model, the 1140-60 no-date Submariner. The Seamaster is significantly cheaper at £3,600. So there's £2,000 between them. Now, the Seamaster is a much, much better buy. For 3,600 versus 5,750, the Seamaster seems the no-brainer and the one to go for. That being said, the Submariner holds its value far better than the Seamaster. This new Seamaster is yet to be proven what the pre-owned sale prices are going to be. Currently in the UK there is a bit of a wait list on this watch, so prices are quite high on the pre-owned market. But once the hype has dropped down, a few weeks time, once everyone who wants one's got one, the second-hand prices will drop. The Rolex is good as money in the bank. The Seamaster, I fear, will be, you buy one for 3,600. If you own it for 1 year, you'll probably end up selling it for maybe 2,800, 2,009. You might lose £600 or £700 on it if you buy one. The Submariner, you can buy it at retail and you can actually sell it and make a profit. So yeah, I mean, I'm marking the Submariner as a 9 because I think they're overpriced in the first place. I'm marking the Seamaster as a 9 because I think they're fair to buy in the first place, but I think their pre-owned prices suffer. So they both have the positive, they both have their negatives. I'm scoring them both a 9. Neither one of them is perfect. One is overpriced, one is fairly priced, but the one that's overpriced holds its residual value well. The one that's cheaper loses money. So it's 6 and 2 threes. It's difficult to pick one between them. And then coming down to the total, the winner by 1 point is the Seamaster. Now, this is extremely close. I believe when I last did this review between the The old Seamaster, the caliber 2500, I believe that the Rolex pipped it to the post by 1 point. You will see now the Seamaster has pipped the Submariner, which is truly incredible, because I've never come across a diver at this level that would beat a Submariner. Even the Planet Ocean didn't beat the Submariner on points. So for the Seamaster Professional to come in at under £2,000, sorry, at over £2,000 cheaper and beat the Submariner by 1 point, full credit to Omega. They have done a fantastic job on this Seamaster Professional. So the winner of today's point system, the Omega Seamaster Professional with a caliber 8800. Absolutely superb watch. It's not perfect. You can see there the scores. It's not a perfect watch by any means, but it does beat the Submariner, in my opinion, which is truly amazing, because the Submariner, as many of you know, is probably my my most favourite watch there is. Whether it be the No Date, whether it be the Hulk, or whichever, the Submariner is a truly magnificent watch. The fact that it has lost versus an Omega Seamaster is incredible. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been useful to you. If you are looking to purchase the Omega Seamaster Professional, I would highly recommend it. Superb watch, and for the record, over a 2-week period, it gained 2 seconds, which again is incredible. So yeah, if you are looking for an Omega Seamaster Professional, get it. It is absolutely an awesome watch. Make sure you get the newest version, the older model with the caliber 2500. I know many of you love it, but you tend to find that the people that love it are the people that own it. In my opinion, this one knocks the socks off it. This one is the one to go for. If you're looking to buy an Omega Seamaster Professional or a Rolex Submariner, this says it all. Buy the Seamaster. It is £2,000 cheaper and it scores better on points. So buy the Seamaster. I hope you found this useful. This is Just My Opinion UK. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos. Thank you for watching.